Good afternoon and welcome to another exciting episode of Roughneck RC. Today I'm going to show you how to make a box mold using silicone, this box, and this brand new raptor top, unopened and uncut. As you can see, I have not done any prep work to this. I just bought it brand new because you don't want holes in the top when you're making the mold. So I'm going to do a couple different views while we're taping this, and you'll get first person perspective of what you'll see what I do inside the box to get it prepared for this, and then you'll also get the side camera's perspective of me doing the work. So with that, we're going to begin this project and hope you all enjoy the video. And yes folks, that is my Jeep in the background. We have just switched over to the head cam so you can see exactly what I'm doing through, like you were looking through my eyes. So, we have this raptor body. Uncut, brand spanking new, it's from Proline. I am putting this on my Emax because my Emax body is just taking a beating. So, you know, between the flipping and the jumping and the general bashing that I do on my vehicles, I am very hardcore about how I, you know, drive my vehicles. I break a lot of stuff and bodies are very expensive. They can get expensive and you spend a great amount of time of cutting stuff and getting them ready and then prep work and then painting them. Well, this is the way I have come up with to make fiberglass bodies. Now this is, you know, like I said, I'm using a raptor body, I'm using a box. There's some prep work that needs to be done in this box, so we don't use a lot of silicone up because silicone is very expensive. But at the same time, you can do this for any of the RCs out there. You can do it for any of the tops. The same principles apply for making a box mold for anything that you decide you want to make a box mold. You do have to remember that you gotta have no holes cut in it and it has to be sealed. If you have a cut body, you have to seal those holes off with clay because of the fact that you'll get undercuts, the silicone will go underneath and you won't have a feasible mold. The mold will just not be right and it won't work and you just have a big mess and wasted a lot of money. When I mean about a lot of money, this here is from Smooth On. It is a Mold Max Silicone Rubber Compound 30. This retails $80 a gallon. This is 1 gallon. You do not want to waste a gallon in messing up a mold. So, you know, once you go ahead and do this, there's chemicals that are in here, you know, that you use. It's a 2-part mold mix. You want to be very careful handling these chemicals. They are harmful to you. So you should use gloves. I've been around this stuff for a very long time. Sometimes I don't always use gloves, but as you can see, depending on how you're handling, but you want to be very careful. Kids, do not do this without your parents. As a matter of fact, parents, do not let your children do this at all, really, because the fact that it is poisonous compound. You can get blood poisoning from the mixture. Once it cures, it's fine. So it's something that if you are working on a project with your child about it, you do all the mixing, you do all the pouring, you know, have them with you so they can see how it's done, but do not let them physically interact with the compounds, because any cuts, any things like that are open, the stuff can get into your blood. You can end up with blood poisoning. There's lots of warnings on this, so please, parents, if you plan on trying to make a fiberglass top for your child's RC, have him watch, but do not let him do it himself. And if they decided they want a fiberglass top, have them come to you, show you my video, talk to you, and make sure that, when you are working with them, that they do not come in contact with this stuff without the proper safety attire. So with that, we are going to go and move on to the next step. Now here's the top. Clean, uncut, no holes, nothing's going to leak. This is going to capture all this detail, so don't worry about that. All the detail will be in your mold. You're going to place it inside here. Now, there's lots of room around this. A gallon will not fill this box. Will not fill this box. So, you want to not waste this material. Very expensive once again. As a matter of fact, if you really do want a fiberglass top and you don't want to spend the money on the silicones, I'm going to be making fiberglass bodies, in the future. And I'm going to have some up there for sale on eBay, or you can contact me and we might be able to work out something if you don't want to go through all the process of work. But it's time consuming. The material is temperature sensitive, and once again, don't let your children mess with chemicals that can harm them. So what we got is where I want to place this top. I want to place it right down flat like that. I want to make sure this is going to be closed off. I'm going to run tape around here, these edges, because it ain't part of the body. I just don't want the silicone to go underneath. And then I'm going to build some walls too. So I got to mark where the walls are going to be. So right here, hopefully I can do this with chalk. Excuse my shop, it's a little bit of a mess. Piece of chalk. But making a line there, and a line there, right around her. This is so I can build a retaining wall. There is shortcuts. Now see, that would be placing it in the middle. Here's a shortcut. Use an existing wall. Now I only have to build 3 retaining walls. The lines are still where they need to be, as you can see. And that's where they're going to be. So, and then of course we're going to put it closer to here. So I'm using an existing retaining wall so I don't have to make as many walls. You can put it in the middle like I did before and make walls all the way around. Or, to save you some work, some glue, some time, you do it like this. And time is very valuable, especially when you get to the later portion of this. Here's some extra cardboard. You can use cardboard, or you can use foam board to make your retaining walls. Now, I personally need to make the retaining walls with the foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably do that off the camera to do length of video.
I went and built my retainer walls. As you can see, I used a couple different methods to build my retainer walls here. The point of a retainer wall is to keep the silicone inside. I took a hot glue gun and I glued the pieces of cardboard in closer to here so I'm not using as much material to make the mold. And then I took this blue painter's tape and I ran up the seams around the seams just in case I might have missed some spots to make sure that it's not going to leak. Now, I went to take this sticker off, so the plastic kind of came off. It doesn't matter if you have the plastic on or off the body when you make the mold. So I peeled it down by the edge here, and it should not affect the mold at all because it's off of where the cutting pattern would be for the body. Like I said, once again, the retainer walls I use a hot glue gun to attach them. I use cardboard. You can make a wooden box if you want. The important thing is to make it so it's sealed tight so nothing leaks out. And the smaller space that you have, the less material you're going to end up using to make your overall mold. So, with that being said, we are going to go and mix the silicone. Now this is going to be a pretty steep mold, so I have a funny feeling it's going to use the whole entire thing of silicone on this. Now generally I do not mix the silicone in the silicone bucket. I will pour this out in the proper proportions into a separate container and mix it there. But this will work for a mixing stick. We don't have that option right now, because I have a funny feeling this thing is going to take this whole entire gallon. It might not. It might have a little left over, but I'm not too worried about wasting it or anything. So this is the silicone. You can use an actual painter stick if you want. You can use a piece of wood. You can use a ruler. But as you can see, it's a pretty thick compound here. But this being the size of the mold, the depth, and that, I have a funny feeling it's going to use all this. And so if I'm going to use all of it, that's what's going to happen. Now I got to find, this is my agents. It's a fast cast agent. Now I'm going to pour this into the bucket and mix the bucket. It's a fast catalyst. I want to make sure there's plenty in there. I have a pair of safety gloves. You need the safety gloves when you're working with this stuff. I mean, if you don't care about your health, that's one thing, but I always advise safety first. And once again, we'll go from there. It is pouring rain outside now. They suggest that you shake well. We are shaking well. Woohoo! Shake, 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 Sonora! Shake your body now! We are shaking well. Now, like I said, you guys might want to mix a small batch. Pour it. You can mix another batch right after and pour it. Even if the other batch has started to cure, it will adhere to it. But I'm looking at the size of this box, the size of the gaps, the size of everything. I'm pretty positive it is going to use all of the mold making material I have. And if it doesn't, oh well. I mean, it is expensive, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. If I had a lot of stuff to do and a lot of different projects going on, I might. But I don't make molds that often. I've had this for a while. And so, it looks like blood. Take my mixing stick. And I'm mixing. Now, the important thing about this stuff is, I mean, I can eyeball it. You guys need to follow the instructions. Once again, you can get this stuff from Smooth On. I've been doing this for a while. And I have a pretty good eyeball on things. That should be mixing better than this. Once again, this is very old. You do not want to use a blender that you use for food or anything like that. And there's air bubbles. And look, you can see it's starting to turn. Smaller amounts will take less effort. And we are having a thunderstorm right now. Do not do this in your house. Do it in a garage, outside ventilated area. I mean, I guess if you have a cellar, you could do it in there, but don't do it in the main part of your house. I mean, the stuff is toxic. You know? Got a little bit more of this. Once again, there is measurements on these things. I can eyeball it because I've been doing this for a while. And no, I mean, you don't want any of these white streaks. You want it to be pink. Or blue if it's a blue silicone. Mine happens to be a pinkish silicone. You want it mixed in thoroughly. It's getting there. And just keep stirring it. Kind of like cotton candy. See that nice pink tone though? That is what we're going for. I mean, once again, this is a simple box mold. I mean, we'll get into other mold making projects. I mean, you can basically take every part on your RC car and you can build it yourself. I mean, you can duplicate it. There's products out there that are stronger plastics. You can even, you know, by simply knowing a little bit of mold making and stuff, you can virtually build just about anything. See how nice and pink? I mean, that's what we're looking for. It's a nice pink consistency. We're going to add a little bit more of the catalyst. Also keep in mind, the more catalyst you have, the faster it's going to set up on you. I want this to loosen up a little bit. Kind of like making a cake. I mean, I'm going to mix that catalyst in, and then we're going to pour. Now, I'm going to set the box down onto the floor when I do the pour. I want to have a nice high pour. The reason you're going to pour it and have it drain like that is it keeps any air bubbles from forming. That's another reason why you're mixing this by hand and not with a machine. It helps with the air bubbles. And you don't want any air bubbles. It makes weak spots for your mold. I mean, if you don't care about having your mold around for a long time, you only plan on doing a couple snaps from it, it's fine. But the nice thing about silicone molds is they will last a couple hundred snaps or more. I have several silicone molds. I will definitely show you one that is finished. And then, like I said, this takes 24 hours to set up. And if it's winter time, it has to be in a fairly warm area. I mean, you don't want it out in the dampness. You want it to be fairly, you know, it tells you on the thing, but I believe it's like 65, 70 degrees. You don't want it hot, you don't want it cold. You want a nice temperature, consistent temperature. I mean, this is pretty good. We're just going to spin it around a few more times. Make sure we get it in there. Everything well mixed. Like so. I mean, look at that. Boom! Beautiful. Now I'm doing this whole entire thing. I can't guarantee that I'm going to not waste some. I suggest for you viewers at home, you do not waste any of this. It is extremely, extremely expensive. I personally am not worried about the expense right now. Not that I have a lot of money. Like I said, I've had this product for a while. And I plan on ordering more as projects come up. But at this moment, this is what I intended it for. Now, if I had a separate container and was really concerned about waste, I would do a little bit at a time, filling the void up, mixing a little bit more, dumping more in as I need it. It's silicone. It will stick to itself. And this is nice and thick. I mean, look at that. It's beautifully pink. Nice color. It flows nice. This is what you're looking for. This color. No, hardly any streaks. If there is, I'm not seeing any. Mixing it up a little bit more. And it's a catalyst. Now, I'm going to put a little bit more catalyst in. It is a little damp here. Like that. I'm going to mix this catalyst in. Just in case. And it is beautifully done. Look at that. You can't ask for almost any better color than that. I mean, it still needs to be stirred a little bit. But I'm digging deep. I'm digging off the walls. I'm digging off the bottom with my mixer stick. And it's a beautiful shade of pink. Like I said, about like cotton candy. And that's the flow you want. You know? You want it to flow like that. It's going to make a nice mold. When you're pouring, you'll see. You want it to pour very slowly. You know? I mean, see how nice that is? That is what we're looking for. That is beautiful. Now, I'm going to change my gloves. They're going to get dirty again. I know. Why are you changing your gloves? Because I got to move that box. I don't want to cover everything I touch. Here's our box mold. Once again, build your returner walls. Hot glue gun to do down the seams. Do over there. I took some painter's tape to reinforce in case I missed any spots. I taped down the best I could the body, so won't get no air underneath there. The important thing is, no matter which way you decide to do this and make a box mold, is to make sure the seals on every corner. I mean, this one isn't exactly straight. They're not straight cuts. I wasn't trying to go for perfection here. I was just trying to show you what you can do. And this is a very simple mold. You can use cardboard. You can use boxes. You can make it out of wood. You can make it out of foam board. I mean, my preferred method is foam board, but I totally forgot I was going to do this tonight, and it's too late to go down and get foam board. And I need to get this shot done. But the important thing is make sure your seals are good so the silicone doesn't leak out. I mean, it's fairly thick, but you still want to make sure you have good seals all the way around. This isn't as that pretty, but you'll see when it comes out. Now I'm setting it down on the floor because I'm going to do a high pour. I got to put some new gloves on because I'm going to do a high pour. I do not want to handle this stuff without gloves and proper safety equipment. I cannot stress that. You know, people have a tendency to forget about their safety, be in a rush, but with this stuff, if you mess up and you get this in your blood, you are going to have to go to the hospital. You're going to have poisoning. You do not want that to happen. So please, by all means, use proper precautions. Be careful. You know, I can't emphasize that more enough. You know, with any project that is the most important thing. You know, it's cool that I'm glad to see people out in the shops building stuff. You know, enjoying a hobby or any hobby that they have. But when you're working on stuff and that, just be aware that, you know, sometimes things go wrong and you can get hurt sometimes. I mean, I've had some instances when I was younger that, you know, but we all have. You know, it's part of growing up. But be careful. If you're doing this with a child, make sure that you explain to them that this stuff is dangerous. You don't want them handling it. You know, We're going to do a high pour now. See, high pour, nice and slow, and you're going to just let the silicone just slowly pour out. Nice. You want to coat your object. I mean, you can keep it in one spot if you want. You know, just let it kind of do its thing, work its magic. It's pink magic. Or blue silicone if you have blue silicone. I generally get this particular brand. It's always pink. I do have some silicone molds that are blue. I mean, as you can
see, it's taking quite a bit. And now you can scrape the bucket. No waste. If I can get it out. You got to give this 24 hours to set up. And if it's really, really damp and cold, it's going to even take longer. About all I'm going to get out of this bucket. I mean, if I had, I probably do have, but I'm not too worried about this little bit. I don't think. I mean, pretty much, you know, you can give it a little tap, pick up the box a little bit, tap it out, try to get the air bubble to the top, you know. A few air bubbles. I should have poured it a little slower. You know, it is what it is. The mold will still work. It's pretty thick. You know, and there'll be more air bubbles as they rise to the top and pop. But in 24 hours, we will see that what the results of our molding experience is and how to pull it all apart. Well, it's been over 24 hours. It's actually probably closer to 36 hours of setting up, but I had work and I couldn't come and demold this for you guys. So, but remember, all you need is really 24 hours for this to set up. So now we're going to be in the process of demolding this and showing you the mold. As you can see, this is what we got. Now, demolding it should be very, very easy. I mean, you don't have to worry about saving any of the cardboard. So you just break stuff free like this. You know, just pull it apart, or you can try to save the box if you want, but getting it out might be a little difficult. after all. You know. So I suggest you rip the box out like this. You know. Careful not to damage the mold. You know. I was actually gonna try to save this box because there might be other things I might want to use it for, but it looks like I'm not gonna be able to do that. So just rip it apart. Let's see what we got. Now, see, this is all the silicone, the lock. This is hooked up. Now you should be able to reuse the Lexan body. This shouldn't have caused any damage to the Lexan at all. It should actually be able to peel out of here once I get it free of the box. And as you can see, I'm still working on it. And we broke that free. Now we got to bring all the rest of this out. This should be easy. Just be careful the rubber. You can see I had some leakage. This extra stuff can be trimmed off. Now, it's going to be a little bit of a hassle. Don't worry about getting this outside dirty. Now, some people put stone jackets around these. This style mold, you don't really need to. It's not in a closed mold, and so forth. And the tape's off. Ain't gonna affect anything. You can leave it on, you can take it off. Be trimmed out. I was just trying to get a better seal around the Lexan body. But here we have it. I mean, it's dirty in here, but you know, obviously this corner got a little messed up, but it's so thick to the body that this ain't gonna affect anything. If you're doing this, trying to do a mold professionally, you want all your lines straight. You want to use straight edges to make your box. You know, but this one is just to give you a demonstration of how to make this. Now the next step is to get the Lexan body that we took the snap off of out. So you peel this back a little bit. Now this should relatively peel off. Should is a key word. Sometimes it needs a little persuading. Being the nature of the beast. I mean, silicone is a rubber, so and as thick as this is, you really, I mean, I'm still going to be gentle, but it's starting to come. You can see. Now, I should have used a little bit more than a gallon. I mean, in my now afterthought, because up here it's a little thin. Still can use it. A little thin. Just slowly peel, especially because that's a little thin for my liking. I like to have a little thicker layer. All I have was a gallon, and when I order stuff, it takes a little while to get here. And I had it for a while. See right here, this piece is all extra. It's not really part of the mold. It was over splash, but see the top is it's not harmed at all. So you're not like out of the money for this body. You know, you can still use this body for anything you want. It's not harmed. It's still in perfect working order. This, my friends, is the mold. This is still a usable mold, and you can see it when it balloons out. So I could probably get a few snaps from this. I can also reinforce this with an outer shell, which would help. But this is a simple box mold, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. And for any questions, don't feel free to